The Minnesota Timberwolves select
Anthony Edwards was the second-ranked player on our Hoopmocks big board behind James Wiseman, but he goes first to Minnesota because the Timberwolves team needs. Minnesota does not need a center or a point guard, as they have D'Lo and Cat, so drafting LaMelo and Wiseman don't make much sense. They are weak at shooting guard, small forward, and power forward though. Edwards is a shooting guard that will improve the Timberwolves from day one, and in the future could become a potential all-star. He can finish around the basket, shoot the basketball, and is pretty quick. He can handle the ball as a point guard if he needs to. Edwards would complement D'Lo and Cat to make a true three-headed monster offensively. This pick is a no-brainer for the Timberwolves. You gotta take Edwards. Up until recently, the news was all about the Warriors not being interested in James Wiseman. However, the rumors have done a full 180 since then and are now saying that they are enamored with him. Regardless of how they feel, they still have a hole at center that needs to be filled. Wiseman is big, lanky, and athletic. His size and agility is his main draw. Because of this, Wiseman has a higher ceiling than most players in this draft class. His ability to shoot the ball is the cherry on top. The idea of pairing him up with Curry, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond is very scary. If the Warriors draft him, I would take a Warriors futures bet to win the NBA championship. Right now it's plus 800 on DraftKings. Looks like a steal to me. A wise man would take this bet. Next, we have LaMelo to Charlotte. Terry Rozier was more like a band-aid signing to fill the hole that Kemba left. Now Charlotte will have a true successor at point guard. LaMelo's passing is out of this world. His jumper concerns me though. His form isn't that bad, but his shot selection led to him shooting 25% from 3 last year, while taking 6.7 threes per game. If he continues this in the NBA, it could cause lots of problems with his coaches and teammates. He also doesn't really try on defense, which makes me think he will have trouble in the NBA with defensive concepts. But his ability to run point at 6'7" makes him a prospect worth all the risks. Most of my concerns from him are things that can be coached out of him. The problem is that I don't think he will buy into a system and listen to a coach. But if he does, I truly believe he has the highest ceiling in the draft. The Bulls are in a spot where they need to put stars next to Zach LaVine and Kobe White. The rest of the team is pretty much expendable. Lots of young talent on the team have been poorly developed and are the same players that they were on draft night. Recently hired Billy Donovan will be the first competent coach Chicago's had in a long time. So I expect the Bulls to be a new team this season. The new culture starts with the Dayton Flyers star Obi Toppin. He's a player that's versatile enough to play both forward spots and maybe even small ball center. This pick allows the Bulls to move Otto Porter, Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell Carter if one of them starts to fall out the rotation. Personally, I think they're better off packaging this pick with some of their talent to get a start. We'll see on draft day if they take a player or make a trade. The Cavs recently traded for Andre Drummond, solidifying their frontcourt, and the team looks like they're committed to Colin Sexton. Darius Garland is a project that was a little disappointing last year, but he will start. Love doesn't want to be there, but as long as he is, power forward is covered. The only hole in their starting lineup is at small forward. That's where Denny Avdija comes in. He can do it all, from throwing flashy passes to blocking shots to scoring from anywhere on the court. He's an all-around player who will complement this Cavs team very nicely. Avdija showed flashes of being a star in a more difficult league than college basketball, so I think his film is pretty reliable. I think he will transition into the NBA very easily. For the Atlanta Hawks, RJ Hampton is a home run pick, and in my opinion, he's one of the 3 best off-ball prospects at the top of this draft class. The other 2 being Devin Vassell and Aaron Nesmith. In Atlanta's case, they should only draft guys who can play as a secondary scorer or an off-ball player. With Trae Young handling point, there's little room for another ball handler. This is what makes RJ Hampton the perfect pick for the Hawks. He's a great cutter, he spaces the floor very nicely, his athleticism is explosive to say the least. Hampton reminds me of Donovan Mitchell in a lot of ways. While his touch around the basket needs some work, he gets to the basket with ease. His ability to pass also impressed me a lot. Atlanta was a fun team to watch last year, and if they get Hampton, they're going to be even more entertaining. The Cole Anthony era in Detroit might be the spark that puts fans back in the seats. For years now, the team has been very underwhelming. I hope he changes the losing culture that the Pistons have been fostering for the past couple of years. Cole Anthony is a player in the mold of post-MVP Derrick Rose, and if he goes to the Pistons, Rose will become his mentor and possibly his backcourt partner. His season at UNC was very strange for most Tar Heel fans. Nobody expected the team to be that bad. Many blamed Anthony, but I don't think it's his fault. He was playing with the team that had 2 traditional bigs, and the floor spacing was pretty bad. UNC put the entire scoring load on him, so I'm not surprised he had problems there. The Pistons lineup projects to be a 5-out offense with Dwayne Casey at the helm, so he might have more room to work with in the NBA than he had at UNC. Cole Anthony might be falling on other people's draft boards, but I think he's a stud. The Knicks have many disappointing players on their roster. You could make an argument that every position is a position of need. At this spot, I believe the Knicks should use a best player available approach and take Killian Hayes. He's a large point guard with tight handles. His jump shot is decent, and he has the tools to improve it over his career. I think he has the ability to run a pick and roll at an elite level in the NBA. Think 2016 John Wall with a little less athleticism. Killian played in France, so there's a lot less film on him than most prospects in this draft, but from what I've seen, he could possibly be the best point guard. He's an interesting prospect for sure that's worth keeping an eye on. Jaden McDaniels is a Kevin Durant clone in terms of body type and playstyle. He's 6'10", extremely lanky, and very agile. However, that does not mean he will play like Kevin Durant or be as good as him in the NBA. He's got a soft touch and a silky jumper, but that's where the positives end. He's not very good at dribbling, his defense is lackluster, and he does not show good basketball IQ. The bright side is that these are mostly correctable errors that can be coached. His height, however, is something that cannot be taught. Jaden is one of the most raw prospects in this draft, but if he can put it all together, we could be looking at the steal of this draft. Onyeka Okongwu gives me mixed feelings. One part of me thinks that he will be disappointing because of his inability to shoot the basketball and his short size at center. The other part of me thinks that he could be the next Bam Adebayo. He plays with an extremely high motor and does the little things. He's extremely mobile, is a stud on defense, and will be able to catch lobs frequently for an NBA team. His height definitely concerns me, but bigs like Bam Adebayo and Montrezl Harrell have shown that an agile big can be better than a large one sometimes. Phoenix needs a bench big and a starting power forward to solidify their starting lineup, and I think Onyeka could fit both those roles perfectly. Onyeka is a bona fide lottery pick without a jump shot. If he got one, good luck. Always rare to see San Antonio in the lottery, but when they are, they always make good use of their pick. Devin Vassell is one of the best defenders in the draft, which could help revitalize the San Antonio Spurs, who were very lackluster this year. With DeMar DeRozan 1 foot out the door, Devin Vassell could be the perfect replacement for him. His catch and shoot game is pretty good, as he shot 41.5% from 3 last year. He is a team first player that is a perfect fit for the Spurs organization. He's what I envision in my perfect 3-and-D prospect. I would compare him to a younger Klay Thompson. If he's anywhere close to that comparison, the Spurs might have drafted another gem. Zeke Naji was highly impressive last year at Arizona as a freshman. His motor, quickness, and his ability in the post really stood out to me. He never really seemed tired or quit on a play. As a result, he had many putbacks and offensive rebounds. He can run the floor and got lots of buckets in transition last year. He definitely has NBA size and is very young at 20 years old. If you sag off of him, he has a consistent enough mid-range jumper to make you pay. Other mocks have him much lower than I do, but I don't really understand it considering he averaged 16 and 8 as a freshman in Pac-12. He was clearly the best player at Arizona, with guys like Nico Mannion and Josh Green there. Sacramento is also in need of someone to play center. Naji would be the perfect guy to pair with Bagley and would really help the Kings team play with so much more energy. I can't wait to see it. Oturu is an all-around scorer that would compete with Jackson Hayes for the starting center spot. Oturu does a lot of things well, but the thing that makes him a top 15 pick is his jumper, which is very deadly. He can hit shots from deep and sometimes with a hand in his face. In addition, he is an excellent rebounder and has a 7'3" wingspan. The Pelicans need a big that can space the floor with Zion on the team. While the team could package this pick and Drew Holiday for another player, they also could choose not to. If they keep this pick, they should use it on Oturu. Center is the only real hole on this Celtics team that's trying to make a deep run into the playoffs. That being said, Precious Achiuwa is a project that might take time to develop. However, he is also the most athletic player in this draft by far. He can jump really high and is extremely agile. He could come in and add immediate energy on defense and in the fast break. Besides rebounding, finishing, and defense, he is very, very raw. He can handle the ball pretty well though, so he could definitely help boost the transition game. And if he starts to develop his other skills, he could become an athlete as freaky as Giannis Antetokounmpo. At worst, you have a player that's more athletic than the majority of the NBA. This video took a lot of time to make, so please leave a like and maybe a comment if you enjoyed this video. Or if you watched this video after the draft, tell me what I got wrong. On our website, Hoopmocks.com, we have the rest of this mock draft with all 60 of our selections for each pick. This mock draft was created by a model which calculates the best 3 players for every pick at a selection. If this interests you at all, be sure to check out our other content. Also, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We're not up on Twitter yet because Twitter thought my account was a bot, but hopefully it will be in the future. And finally, thank you for watching.